Welcome back to The New Mechanic. My name's Randy, and that's my E46. Today, we're finally going to start working on the AC system. This is part one of a three-part series. Today, we're going to be talking about the tools and the parts that we need to complete the job. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to talk about are the parts that we need. So, without further ado, hey Randy, you want to bring them out? Alright, so just tell them a little bit about the part that we're going to be putting on my job and what it actually does. This is the condenser. This goes on the front of the car, right in front of the radiator. So what this does is it cools down the compressed refrigerant after the compressor compresses it. And once it cools down, then it actually can do its job. This right here is the compressor. It compresses the refrigerant, and it's really not that complicated. I mean, it looks at it, but it compresses the refrigerant, which then goes to the condenser. We also got several cans of refrigerant, just enough for this car. This is the AC dryer. It dries out the system, takes out any water out of the whole system. This right here is the expansion valve. It sits right in front of the evaporator, which we're actually not going to be replacing. That requires taking out the entire dash, the steering wheel, just to get access to it. Not going to do that. We're hoping that it's good. If our system starts to leak, that'll maybe be one place that we look at. But like I said, this is the expansion valve. What it does is regulates how much compressed refrigerant gets put into the evaporator. The evaporator then lets that compressed air expand, which cools it, and which ends up cooling the air that goes into the AC system. These guys are O-rings. They seal stuff. Enough said. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it. So, now that we got all the parts out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the tools. Randy? Yeah. Okay. Bring them out. Got it, boss. All right, so this is the Manifold Gauge Set. This is what actually we hook up to the AC ports on the car. This tells us all the pressures and everything like that, and it's also going to let us vacuum out the system and then put in new refrigerant. This right here is a vacuum pump. Does what it says it does. All right, so this is the AC flush kit along with a solvent. So what this does is we'll use some compressed air and pump the solvent through the pipes and the tubes to clean them out, to get any other debris that could be in there from the old compressor that probably destroyed itself, any of the old lubricant that's in the system, and get it nice and clean. Last but not least, we got this little valve. These go on the refrigerant cans, and you just tighten it down so that it releases the refrigerant out. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it. So from here that we got all the parts and the tools that we need, now we can go ahead and talk about the process of how to get the old stuff out, how to put the new things in, and what we need to do to get this pressurized to the correct amount of refrigerant and get it working. So go ahead and follow me. All right, so the first thing we're gonna work on is the AC condenser. The AC condenser is down here through this hole. You can see it through it, and it's actually pretty simple. But what we're gonna do is actually take off the whole front end right off the frame rails. Seems kind of crazy because it sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not that bad. And I think it'll give us really good access. I don't know if this will work or not because there is a bolt on that side of the condenser that I don't know if we can get to or not from the front of the car. Worst case is we have to take out the radiator or tilt the radiator back. I don't want to deal with that, so I'm going to try this first, and if it doesn't work, well, it will give us really good access to the AC dryer, but not too worried about it. I'm thinking that we'll be able to make it work. So from there, we're going to go ahead and do the AC expansion valve, which is all the way back here. We have to take off the fire, like all this stuff, the firewall, just to gain access to it. then we'll replace it. While that's happening, we'll also go ahead and flush all the tubes, the lines that go through here to the expansion valve, just to make sure that anything that was in the compressor that got into the whole system, that's all flushed out. After that, we're gonna go ahead and replace the actual compressor, which is all the way down there. Not gonna be that bad. It's just I think there's 2 electrical connectors. Maybe there's just one, which not gonna be that bad. And then the actual bolts that hold it into the motor. And after that, it's just the AC dryer, and then we'll be able to bolt everything back on and start the car after we purge the system, put the new refrigerant in, and get it running. Thank you so much for watching, really appreciate it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe it, that would be awesome. If you didn't, tell me why, that would be great as well, because then I can help improve my videos in the future. So part 2 will be me taking out all the parts and putting the new parts in. And again, this is gonna be more of a how-to tutorial, so I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do and how to do it. After that, for part 3, we're gonna go ahead and vacuum the system out and put the new refrigerant in and make sure that the car is running nice and good and that the AC is nice and cold. So I'm excited for that. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.